we have a real opportunity here, and I was glad to see our own party leader, Mary Lou MacDonald, say this morning that she would work with you in every way to get this bill right. We have an opportunity, but also we have a grave responsibility to get it right. And as everyone has said, there isn't an issue with the bill in itself, and indeed I welcome the amendments that have been put forward. I think everyone across this House is attempting to do the right thing. So we cannot leave this bill without doing the right thing. And the question is, and what seems to be glaring from here, is why is the system fighting against transparency and truthfulness? And if there's one thing that you can inject into the health service, it is that transparency. We have to get away from the situation where the system is being protected and the patient does not come first. And in so many things, this has happened. But we have an opportunity here to put the responsibility to put the duty of candour into the bill. And we cannot have self-regulation around issues, and we cannot be putting the responsibility on the patients to come forward all the time. We cannot expect the person to do everything and the system to fail them time and time again. And Minister, I want to talk to you about the wider issue in terms of protected disclosures, and I raised it here this morning with the Taoiseach around the protected disclosures that are in at the moment from the Western Care Organisation in Mayo. People and staff and former staff within that organisation were brave enough to come forward to express the concerns that they had around the services. Now, I wrote to yourself, I wrote to the Minister sometime last week. They arrived on my desk after I had seen them on the front page of the Mayo News. There are very serious issues in there. Very serious issues that need to be addressed. Now, when I get the answer back to the PQ that I have put in around the protected disclosures, I get the HSE does not share protected disclosures with the department, therefore I'm referring this to the HSE. I'm really concerned about that, because we have to have accountability and we have to address these things, and we have to give reassurance to families and to service users and to patients around how things will be handled. So I was asking this morning for a number of things to be done. Firstly, I want to acknowledge the great work that's done by people within the HSE right across the board, and people within the Western Care Organisation that we're talking about. There are some excellent people who go way above and beyond to protect the rights of the people that they are caring for. I have seen them do that through COVID. I've seen them do that outside COVID. But they have to have confidence, and we have to have confidence in the system that if people see something wrong, if they're working within that system, that they come forward, that there is a culture. We have to change the culture of protecting the system. We have to encourage people to come forward. And what I would want you to do in this circumstances, firstly, to guarantee that nobody's going to lose their job, that nobody is going to be extradited because of coming forward with concerns that they have, and that families aren't going to be disadvantaged by it. Not only the families of the service users, but also the families that are in waiting to get the individualised services within the Western Care Organisation, who desperately, desperately need those services. And that's why I'm concerned that there isn't an immediacy, and that there isn't a completely independent and transparent process that can be taken up straight like that. But of course this isn't new, because when the Wolf report was done in the Western Care Organisation, one of the points there was to recommendation to escalate individualised services to the organisation risk register. So it pointed out significant risks that were there. That was 2 years ago. And this is the problem, you see, is that things aren't done in a timely way. And I am still concerned that things don't happen. Now, Minister, I need somebody to deal with this. I need somebody to put their hands up and to say, I will deal with that. And I think that the buck stops with you and indeed with Minister Rabbitte around this. I just want you to be open, to be transparent, and for us to have a confidence across Mayo in a service, in an organisation where there's so much good work being done. But when there are things that are brought to your attention, we all have a duty of care. So when they arrived across my desk, I had a duty of care. I don't like doing this because of all the workers that are there, but I have a duty of care to do that. I want to ask you as well, Minister, you know the same thing happened in terms of the Valparaiso thing, and I thank you for announcing it, but it's 2 years ago since an inquiry was that you, and we were very grateful for that, announced that there would be an inquiry into who knew what, when they knew it, and why nobody did anything about it when women were prescribed a drug, when they were prescribed Epilim, when there was tons of evidence there to say what the impact was on their unborn children. And we have hundreds of children across the state and hundreds of families who've been impacted by this, and children who've been born with disabilities. I know that the terms of reference for that, I believe, has now been agreed. We have one Cabinet meeting left, and I'm asking you that you will bring to Cabinet to get that inquiry up and running again. But these are all examples of where nobody shouted stop, where harm is being done. We have to stop harm being done inside of a health system. We just have to. And this is one such opportunity where we can stop harm being done by getting this bill right and by getting this legislation right. And if we fail to get it right, I think shame on all of us. But I'm really asking you to please listen. What was said earlier on, I don't always agree with Deputy Alan Kelly, but he said it is not fit for purpose and that it doesn't pass the Vicky test. I didn't know Vicky Phelan, but I don't think that this passes the Vicky test either. And we really, really have to honour her name and honour her courage by getting this bill right and by ensuring that these things never, ever happen again. And that way, Minister, you would be acknowledged for doing that within the system, for being the one health minister that shouted stop in these.